So Elva just had another lovely lunch by the caterers doing well.
Yeah.
You happy with his performance?
Oh, absolutely. And he does well with praise. He'll do even better tomorrow if it's
Okay.
praising.
Well, we must. I might leave him a little tip.
Yes, oh, he'd gladly take it because he doesn't get much of an allowance.
Well, over lunch, you were talking about your first financial investment, and Bluey and Curly were your partners in this enterprise. You
Yes,
want to tell us the story?
I was still at state school when I bought a pair of pigeons. I've got no idea if they were male or female, but they never laid eggs, so they were probably both male. And I paid sixpence each for these.
Homing pigeons.
Homing pigeons. And the person I bought them from said you must keep them locked up for 6 weeks and feed them well and look after them well. Then leave the door open and I'll come back. So I did all this exactly as I was told. And I left the door of the cage open. It used to hang up on Papa's garage on the outside.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they came back. And I did that a couple of times and they came back. So I thought, now I don't get much pocket money, sixpence a week. I reckon I can make some money. And I used to ride my bike to school and I had a lovely basket on the front with a lid. I've never seen another one like it actually. So I decided, because I loved the Campbell market, Nan would take me down there and we'd go and buy lollies and she'd buy me some lemonade. And I knew that there was a shop down there that sold birds and dogs and kittens. And so I rode my bike down to Camberwell, which would be at least...
Fair, all right.
Yeah.
A few decent
And
hills
went
on the way.
into the pet shop and I said to the chap that I had 2 pigeons and would he like to buy them? And he said, yes, that's all right. I'll give you a shilling each for them. So I thought, oh, well, even that's good. So I got my 2 shillings. I put them in the basket, got my 2 shillings. And he must have sold them straight away to some idiot who didn't know that you have to lock them up for at least 6 or 8 weeks so as they know where home is. Because sure enough, the cage was still on the wall of Dad's garage. And I went out one day and Bluey and Curly were in it. So with that, I started my first business. I was in the 4th grade, I can remember this. And anyway, I used to sell these pigeons to whoever bought them, didn't tell them to lock them up. And they'd let them, and I'd say, oh, they're wonderful, they just fly around and then they come back. So I don't know how many times I sold Bluey and Curly and amassed this fortune of about, I don't know how many shillings, but sooner or later, I think about 2 years I did that, because I remember in 6th grade that somebody wanted to buy them off me, and I had the awful underhand thought of thinking, well, I won't be seeing you again because I'm leaving to go to Mangara Road High School. So that was the last I ever saw of Bluey and Curly. Whoever I sold them to then knew they had to lock them up. But I made all this money out of reselling these 2 pigeons.
Fantastic, fantastic. So we're going to pick up your story again, and and just talking to Ash and you before, wanted to sort of start at this moment, but with the place that, what was it called?
Well, yeah, like you with your first memories of Gran, I guess mine were being driven up past Bonnie Doon to go to get out to Goffs Bay.
Yes.
As really young kids. And
Where's Goffs Bay?
Gran and Paul.
It's just off the Jamison Road.
So you could go beyond Mansfield out sort of south east of the...
It's more, and it's about a 15-minute drive out of Mansfield and the southerly direction, not up towards Buller.
And what are your memories out there, Ash, that you'd like to get Mang to?
Well, Gran's got a couple of kind of more specific memories than I do, I guess, because we were quite young. But I do remember hanging out it's through images, it's through photographs that I kind of have memories that are kind of triggered. Like the guy that lived next door who was a few years older than me, and we'd hang out with packed lunches that Gran would make for us.
Yes. Yes, I remember that now. Yeah. I'd forgotten that. Yeah. But
you had a few acres there?
Yeah, we had 90 acres.
Right.
And we sliced 27 off and had a beautiful brick house built.
Yeah.
Which we sold, which was our first money we ever made.
Right.
We sold it for, I think, about 25,000 more than it had cost us to put it there. But I suppose I still do. I get these wild ideas. And Ash, we were in our second house at this stage. We'd sold the brick one, and it was a wooden house. It was a kit, actually, we had built. And Paul had built me a beautiful chook house about, I don't know, I'm not good about metres, but it was a long way up from the house. And Ash he used to love taking a little basket I had. He was about 3 or 4, because Travis this time was only a baby. I remember that David and Pam had herf off and leave the kids, and I loved it, because I had no reason not to be able to look after them, and I loved it. Anyhow, he used to love taking this basket up and collecting the eggs. So I don't know what made me do it. But one night after I put him and Trav to bed and read the stories and scolded them for not staying in bed and all the things that happen with little kids, I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll paint the eggs with texture, put little things on them. So I got about 8 or 10 of the eggs that he'd already collected and were in the egg bowl. And I drew all sorts of things on them, ships at sea and flowers and everything. And I went up in the dark, because I was dying to see what he'd do, and put these eggs back in the nest. So when he comes out in the morning and had breakfast, I said, Ash, would you like to go up and see if Gran's chooks have laid any eggs? Well, I don't know how the eggs stayed in the bus, because I can see him now. Just shut my eyes. This little bloke with this basket like this, screaming out the top of his voice and bursting into the kitchen there saying, Gran, the chooks have laid magic eggs. From then on, and I don't know how long he kept me guessing, they were called magic eggs. And you must remember getting...
Oh, yeah, no, I remember.
Eventually, we used to blow them.
Ah, yes.
To get the egg out, and then Mum would have to do that, and we kept them in egg cartons, and they kind of built up.
And then in the basket, there was a washing basket full. Yeah. And one day Pam just said, I'm going to throw all those eggs out. It's ridiculous keeping them.
But yeah, the thing that I remember most about that is, if I look back now, is kind of just the walk between the house and the chook pen, and it being this expanse of paddocks and open air for a suburban kid. It just was, those were school holidays.
Exhilarating.
They were the opportunities to be taken away from reality. And with Gran and the idea of magic eggs and the fantasy of all that, it was really a wonderful escape and real true Australian country experience. I went back for with my brother year in, year out, and it was a great time in my life.
Yeah, and I've actually got a photo I'll show you when we're finished of Ashley and Travis with their basket of eggs sitting on the bank of a dam. But one day I panicked because the phone rang and he went and the basket went. And I didn't see, but he took a fishing line with him too, but I didn't see any of this because whoever rang, I didn't realise he left his whatever he was doing. Got off the phone, where's Ashley? Nowhere. The basket's gone, must be up the chook pen, so I hightailed it up there. He was at a dam halfway between our place and the next door neighbour, and the fishing line. And I don't remember if it was extended, but I remember getting him and shaking him, just about shaking his head off. And I said, why are we here? I only wanted to catch a fish. He said, I was only trying to catch a fish. So anyway,
Yeah.
we did have some wonderful times there.
How
didn't
long
we?
were you there at Goff's?
Oh
Bay?
gosh, we were in the first house not a long time because it was such a beautiful house. We were able to sell it very easily, and that's what gave us the money to build the kit home, have it built. We didn't build it.
Yeah.
Have it built. And I've got
And that was on the same property.
yeah, but we had 27 acres with the brick house cut off
Oh, yeah.
in
yeah.
a long block, which left us with.
Yeah.
Do you remember our sauna and spa and all that?
It's
That was at
amazing
the
to see
second.
house, a massive kitchen garden which you and Paul had, and
Yeah.
all your own veggies.
So you must have been there a few years.
Yes, we just must have been. Paul would remember where he's out talking to someone, I think, but I'll ask him. He would remember how long we were there. I just can't think how long it was, but it was quite a while.
And from there you moved into Jamison,
We always
Mansfield.
we always had this beautiful little log cabin at Jamison, and if ever I think that we shouldn't have sold one of the many places we had, everything we did was to try and just make another 10 or 20,000
Yeah.
to get some money.
Yeah.
Do you want to take it? You take it,
Yeah.
and then we'll stop.
We'll stop for a sec.